As AI use skyrockets, so does its energy demand. The big question, will AI drain our power grids? Can we keep up without burning out? How can we make AI more energy efficient? Will renewable energy be enough to sustain AI's growth? What happens if AI's energy needs surpass our supply? In this thought-provoking video, we'll delve into the energy-intensive world of AI and explore the potential consequences of an AI-driven future. Will we be able to sustain the energy demands of AI, or will it ultimately consume us? Imagine this. In just a few years, AI could be using as much electricity as an entire country. This isn't some far-off dystopian future. It's happening right now, and it's a real problem. We're talking about a technological revolution that's happening faster than we can even wrap our heads around. And while we're all excited about AI's potential, there's a dark side to it that we're not talking enough about: energy consumption. You see, AI's hunger for electricity isn't just a byproduct of its progress, it's an inherent part of its design. The more advanced AI gets, the more power it needs. And we're not just talking about a couple of machines or a few data centers here and there. No, we're talking about a global network of artificial intelligence that's growing exponentially. Right now, it's mostly a trickle. But in just a few years, that trickle could turn into a tidal wave of demand for power, and the infrastructure we have just won't be able to handle it. But here's the thing. The fear that AI will somehow take over and destroy humanity, like some sci-fi movie, is misplaced. The real issue isn't AI turning into a malevolent force. It's that it might drain all our resources, leaving us in the dark, literally. Let's break this down a little more. First off, AI isn't just some abstract concept or some niche technology being used in a few advanced labs around the world. No, AI is everywhere. It's in your phone, in your social media feed, in your car, in the way your favorite streaming service recommends shows to you. Even in healthcare, helping doctors diagnose diseases, finding patterns in genetic data, and even powering robotic surgeries. AI is the invisible force behind so many things in our everyday lives. And as it gets more advanced, it's going to be doing even more. But here's the kicker. With every new AI system that's built, the demand for electricity goes through the roof. We're at a point right now where training a single AI model, like GPT-4, can use up as much electricity as 120 US households in an entire year. That's not a typo. One single AI model. And this is just the beginning. Imagine what happens when companies start deploying AI at scale across every aspect of life: healthcare, transportation, entertainment, security. It's not a stretch to say that this growing demand for power could overwhelm our current energy systems. The reality is, the more we use AI, the more electricity it consumes. That's because AI is all about processing insane amounts of data. Data centers, which house the machines that power AI, are massive power sinks. We're not talking about your average server room. These are huge, sprawling facilities filled with thousands and thousands of machines that run 24/7. All those machines, running those AI algorithms, need constant cooling to avoid overheating. And cooling? Well, that takes a ton of energy too. It's like trying to keep a room full of computers from bursting into flames, except instead of using fans, we're sucking up electricity like it's going out of style. And we can't just ignore it, either. As AI grows, so does its electricity consumption. Every time you ask an AI assistant to play a song, recommend a movie, or help you with a quick search, it's tapping into that vast network of data centers, constantly crunching numbers, learning from new data, and doing all of that requires a massive amount of computing power, which needs power. More AI tools means more data, more processing power, and more energy. It's a vicious cycle that we can't just keep feeding without consequences. The biggest issue here isn't just how much energy AI uses, but where that energy comes from. Most of our energy still comes from fossil fuels. In fact, reports suggest that the carbon footprint of training large AI models is pretty bad. Some of the big models, like GPT-3 and GPT-4, produce as much CO2 as 5 cars running for their entire lifespan. Let that sink in. 5 cars, all running nonstop, for decades, just to train an AI model. Now multiply that by hundreds, thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of AI projects that are set to be built in the next 5 years. It's insane to think about how much energy we're going to need. In the next few years, the number of AI projects is projected to grow exponentially. According to some estimates, there will be over 50,000 AI-based applications in the next 5 years, covering everything from healthcare and education to smart cities and automated factories. If we start thinking about how much energy it would take to support that many projects, we're looking at a future where the demand for electricity from AI could rival the total energy consumption of some of the biggest countries in the world. And here's the kicker. Our current infrastructure isn't built to handle that. We're talking about a system that's not just inefficient, but potentially catastrophic if we don't start thinking about how to power AI in a way that won't drain the planet. So what does this mean? Well, it means we've got a big problem on our hands. AI, as incredible as it is set to become one of the biggest energy hogs in history. And here's the real issue. There's not enough focus on this side of the equation. I mean, look at it this way. Right now, the global energy demand is already increasing at an alarming rate. In fact, the International Energy Agency, IEA, predicts that global electricity demand will increase by nearly 60% by 2050. If AI becomes a major part of that demand, then we're looking at a scenario where we may have to double or even triple our energy capacity just to keep up with the needs of these AI systems. And that means we're going to have to massively expand the infrastructure needed to power AI, including more data centers, more servers, more cooling systems. And it's only getting worse. AI's power needs are doubling roughly every 100 days. In 2022 alone, US data centers burned through 200 terawatt-hours of electricity, making up 4% of the country's total power demand. By 2026, global AI and crypto energy use could hit 1,050 terawatt-hours, rivaling entire nations like Germany. The talk isn't all doom and gloom, at least not entirely. Google and other tech giants are now seriously exploring nuclear power as a potential fix for our runaway energy demands. Instead of just relying on wind, solar, or hydro, they're looking at next-generation nuclear options to fuel their data centers. Take NuScale Power's small modular reactors, for example. Each module is designed to produce about 60 megawatts, and with federal backing in the US, experts say these reactors could provide roughly 5% of America's electricity by 2030. Sounds promising, right? But here's the kicker. While nuclear plants can churn out massive, steady amounts of low-carbon power, they also come with long lead times, high upfront costs, and unresolved waste disposal challenges. Plus, scaling up nuclear capacity fast enough to support the explosive growth in AI might be a stretch. In other words, even if nuclear projects deliver cleaner energy today, the race to power increasingly energy-hungry AI systems could end up compounding environmental risks rather than solving them. It's a classic case of trying to put out one fire with another type of fuel. Without careful management, we might just be trading one set of problems for a whole new energy crisis. So, picture this. In the US, tech giants like Google are bending over backward to power their AI ambitions with renewable energy. They're planning to build data centers right next to solar and wind farms, aiming to keep things green and clean. Meanwhile, across the Pacific, China seems to have a different playbook. In 2024 alone, they greenlit a whopping 70 gigawatts of new coal plants. That's nearly 20 times more than the rest of the world combined. It's like while the US is busy planting windmills to feed AI's insatiable appetite, China is doubling down on coal, adding new plants at a breakneck pace. Makes you wonder who's got the right idea here, doesn't it? So let's talk about it. What do you think? Are we headed towards an energy crisis because of AI, or are we just being paranoid? Drop your thoughts in the comments.